Dorian, you have done a lot of work again for the Encyclopedia of Openings. Just like last year, you were discovering the newest trends. What actually is this term? What does trend in openings actually mean? Can you emphasize on that?
Yeah, it's actually not so simple to explain. There are openings or variations which are more preferred at some certain time, and some other variations which were popular maybe a few years ago or even maybe 1 year ago, and suddenly people play it not so often anymore. There is not always a clear explanation for that. It just okay, just people start to play something else. Like if to put it in very general terms, so like when Kasparov was playing, everybody was playing after e4, c5.
I see.
And these days, almost everybody plays e4, e5. So it's, but this is okay. This is very general, as I said. So of course, people play c5 as well, but it's just, and yeah. And what I'm trying to have a look at the strongest tournaments and try to figure out which variations are quite popular at this period of time. So last year, I'm talking now about 2022, and yeah, trying to show maybe some variations which were more popular or on the highest level. I'm talking about the highest level.
Yeah, of course. Yeah. Well, this is the thing to orientate on. Now, my question is like, does this really change that much that you can see a difference in the years, like from 1 year to another? Or is it like always going like, this is going up a couple of years, this is going down a couple of years?
Yeah, you're right. It's not like that much from year to year. So if we're talking about tendency, maybe we can take several years. It's easier, but even each year we can follow some changes. For instance, after very highest level events like all championship match, and the all championship match very often shows a trend for the next several big tournaments. For instance, or candidates tournament, because people are prepared very well there, so they have done their homework very, very well. And if they are playing some variations, and there is a huge analysis behind it, so people can trust it very, very well. And what I would like also to say here is that I am taking only tournaments with a classical time control.
Yes, I think that's important. Yeah.
And sometimes I can mention some games from with quicker time controls, but only online, and only then really very highest level, some World Championship, Blitz World Championship, or Rapid World Championship. But this is rather an exception. So generally, tournaments with a classical time control. Last year we had some very interesting events. There was no World Championship match, but we had candidates tournament, we had Olympiad, and we had some classical tournaments like always Vacanzer, and we had St. Louis, Stavanger. We have Grand Prix series.
Yeah,
so
plenty to choose for.
Yeah.
Are there some kind of trendsetters? Like I would say probably whatever Magnus plays, people go like, I want to play like him, or like Hikaru Nakamura, some popular chess people, or are even the ones who are, let's say, some of the aspiring young Indian talents, when they play a little trend or a little opening, do people also orientate on this?
Yes, from the young people, I would mention maybe Abdusatorov, who plays some trendy lines, or even the German Vincent Keimer has very good opening preparation. And so if these players are playing some certain line, again, it means a lot of work behind it. But as you said, the stronger the players are, the more trust in their choices. Also, there are something like, there are players like Fabiano Caruana or Anish Giri, who are generally very well prepared in openings. So if they are playing some variations, it's clear that they have done a lot of work. And there are players who are trying maybe more to experience, like maybe Richard Rapport. His openings, for instance, are not so trendy because he likes just some chaotic positions. They are not very objectively very correct or so.
Well, I have to mention, of course, not long ago, Ding Liren played fourth H3. So what went through your head when you saw this? Because, of course, Richard Rapport is part of all of this. Yeah.
Actually, this was just a few days ago. Yeah,
exactly.
Because the World Championship is playing right now. And, what can I say? I don't think this would become a trend. And I'm not a very high opinion about it. And actually, even the game itself. Maybe what is also important when setting trends is the result of the game.
That's what I just wanted to mention. Yes.
Yes.
So what would have happened if you would have won, right?
Okay, then maybe people would have paid more attention to it. Even if it's clear these days it's very easy to evaluate the position after the opening.
I see.
But still, if the result of the game, it's interestingly enough, it's a big factor in setting a trend.
Yeah.
Especially, of course, in the World Championship match. But now it was H3. Okay, possible move. These days you can play almost anything because actually this is also an interesting moment. Maybe I will tell something later if I will come to show something concrete.
Yes, I would love to see something concrete about that.
Okay, so my videos I split it in 3 parts. One with E4, where different openings after E4, one D4 on different openings after D4, and one with first C4 and knight F3. So these two, so English and already.
Yeah, and everything after that, that's like it's out of business, kind of, right?
Okay, at least on the highest level.
Yeah.
And of course, even here, let's say after E4, it's impossible to show every single trend or something.
Of course, yeah.
So I always choose just some. I have to make some choices, and I make some choices based also, so as I said, on this highest level tournaments, but also. The opening encyclopedia is also the newest opening articles from ChessBase magazine. So, I also refer to these articles.
Yeah, very good. Yeah.
So, for instance, after E4, I look a little bit in Caro-Kann, a little bit in French, then Sicilian. And E5. So
of course, and these are the 4 answers. There's like also not many more. Which
are
you
the still have these moves. And, but generally, yes. And for instance, what to mention in Najdorf here, the move what I'm looking at, it's a move Rook G1 here. Which is also it has been around for a while. I think.
Unfortunately, I'm totally out of this, so this is a little surprise for me. But I'm not a Najdorf player. Yeah, I'm seeing this the first time.
And the Najdorf is such an opening that here basically any move is possible for white. So any single move it's playable. And Rook G1 has been around, as I said, for a while, maybe 3 years or so, and popular. But in 22 it was quite there were some high-level games. Rook G1, H5, H3, I think it's and G6. Some games based on Vashelagev games on the black side. Or I also here look at the English attack, so the main line of Najdorf, and talking about in D4. I look a little bit on Catalan, the Gambit line here, if we take this move order, the move order doesn't matter, knight F3, knight F6, G3, bishop E7, bishop G2, castle, one of the main lines, D takes C4, Queen C2, and now, A6 is the main move, but there is the move B5, and, B5, and after A4, now, here the main move is b4, but black has also a gambit idea to play bishop b7, a takes b5, and now a6.
I saw this very recently. I'm not sure who showed this to me. Maybe it was Robert Rees even. Yeah.
Okay. It's an interesting Gambit line, and
Yeah.
there was, if I'm not mistaken, also a theoretical article about it, or a video which I mentioned also. And this is also already for a few years around, but last year in 2022, I think it reached the top of its popularity. Quite a lot of games were played here, and I think the general verdict is that Black is doing quite okay here. So sacrificing a pawn in many variations, but activity, not so much material left, and very good chances to make a draw.
I have to say it's quite fascinating to look at those trends, because for what happens for me, although I never played both of those lines, to be honest, but it's like you have this in your fingers where you go like, I want to try this out. I want to learn more about this.
I can show you more, for instance, in the Reti, because Reti was always something like...
Show us one more in Reti, yes, please.
It's okay, very, very quiet opening, but it has these days quite a deep theory.
Okay.
So knight f3, and after d5, for instance, here the move e3 is quite trendy.
Okay.
It's especially in rapid and blitz games, but
I've seen it a couple of times, yeah.
Yes, something like white can play like this, knight c3, and then this is a very flexible system. Later, white can play even g3 at some points.
Okay.
b3, and it looks harmless, but in fact, white has a very clear plans everywhere. At some point, white can even take, play for d3 and d4. And this is what this year Vincent Keimer played in a classical game against Dingliren in Vaikanze, and he got a big advantage with white. Although he played it before, also with very good results in rapid and blitz games. So Dingliren was very well prepared. But still, it was, and this is a trend, for instance, something like this. It reminds me a little bit, and this was what I was going to tell at the very beginning. Like, generally in the main lines, they are so analyzed these days. Here, I've played d4, we have the main line. But the evaluation at the end is almost always about equal. So black has ways to neutralize white's initiatives. And white's approach is like, okay, let's play also an equal position, but from the very beginning there are no forced lines, and I'm better prepared than you, and I know the plans better, because if you look with the computer shows here equality. But so with the black piece, on the black side, you would not really analyze this. But white analyzes is very deeply, and it reminds me like London some 5-6 years ago, when it was also at the beginning like harmless, then it was suddenly not so simple. Black has to know exactly, and it took several years until it dropped down the popularity of London. It's still quite popular, but you cannot compare London these days like London for some 3-4 years ago, when it was almost everybody played this.
So weird, trends are really fascinating. One last question. What about the fianchettos? Can you generally see a trend that the fianchettos are played more often or less, or is it like you cannot say?
That's really very general, because it's in each opening. I think maybe it's even more often than, for instance, 2-3 years ago. Like why I'm saying this, like King's Indian, for instance. King's India started to gain some popularity in 2022 with some completely surprising ideas. I just want to show you one of them.
Yes, please.
So g6, and for instance, some Indian young guys playing with d6, knight f3, the main line. Bishop e2 and e5, castle short. And here knight c6 is the main move, but also the move h6, for instance, here.
Funny. I had the King's Indian with Svetlana Demchenko a bit. She was showing it in one of our videos. That h6 is
you saw,
I think she. I don't remember it, to be honest. But h6 is really a funky move.
I wouldn't say this. It's maybe such a big trend, but you have some high-level games played in the classical time control. h6 on the last one, I think it was in Vaikanze, in the A tournament, in Vaikanze. Black lost, but he was very okay after the opening. So, okay, sometimes people just play some variations. The computer short, I think, if I'm not mistaken, h6 is the second choice of the computer these days. So, which doesn't mean that in the future this may also change because the computers also develop. But a few years ago, it's funny.
So because the computers developed too, people are, of course, playing different openings as well on top of that.
Yeah.
Because of the computer. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Dorian, thank you so much for your work on this big encyclopedia. It is available for you now. I hope you have it already. If not, now is your chance. It's really, really fascinating, interesting. If you like openings as much as I do, it's a must. Thanks a lot, Dorian.
Thank you.